all. Welcome back. Oh, wow. I just sounded really chipper, didn't I? Okay, so anyways, hi, welcome back. I'm Matt. I am a tattoo artist. I've done some illustration work, but I'm more of a failed illustrator than an actual illustrator. But I have been a professional artist, professional tattooer for 25 years. I've been an artist since since I can pick up a pencil and use it with any kind of purpose. I hang around in the YouTube art sphere. I've never really contributed, so this channel is me trying to contribute and kind of give my thoughts, throw my hat into the ring, and talk about art. Anyways, you guys really liked my 5 things nobody tells you about being an artist. Y'all really did. So I did some thinking. I read a lot of your comments. I really did, and I really liked them. And I wanted to talk about a couple of those and talk about some other stuff that are the realities of being an artist. Because as much as I'd love to say that being an artist is nothing but perfect execution, sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, ice cream socials with your best friends every day, and you make art, and the creative life is the only life, I'd be lying to you. I really would. And I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. So we're going to jump in. And before we jump in, this gets really heavy. There's some heavy points here. And I'm not trying to scare you off. I really am not. I'm not. I love art. I love the life that art has created for me as an artist. It's given me a lot. And because of that, I don't think I could ever consider life not being an artist, not being in the arts. But I'll tell you, if some people had told me some of this stuff up front, it would have been great because I would have been ready for it. I wouldn't be as blindsided by some of the things as I was. So anyways, think of this as a kind of a real talk, old guy telling you about the realities of art. None of this shit's really glamorous. It's not stuff you're going to hear a lot of in art school unless you just have artists give you real talk. And it's not pretty. But some of this stuff might kind of help with your mental health. I mean, let's be honest. Being an artist, sometimes your mental health isn't going to be the best. And a lot of that goes into point 1. And that point is, art's really lonely. I have lost relationships, people that I truly loved and adored. And I've isolated a lot of friends because I'm in a creative funk or I'm in a creative high. And nobody really talks about that. People, for some reason, just think that, again, being an artist is unicorns, rainbows, sprinkles on ice cream and funfetti life. And it's not. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes, yeah, you see the unicorns and the rainbows, but most of the time it's you sitting there staring at a wall, staring at your page, your canvas, whatever, trying to make things happen. And when you're alone like that, you get into your head, and that back voice in your brain gets really loud. And it tells you some mean stuff. It'll tell you how horrible you are. You'll start doubting everything. The why bothers start coming in really hard, and they come in quick, and you'll spiral down. But the cool part about it, the cool part is if you can learn to lean into being alone and learn to be an artist on your own, like, not saying be an artist like it's something separate, but if you can learn learn to lean into that loneliness, it gets really cool because that's where your style really there goes the tongue tied again. That's where your style really kind of starts to shine, where it starts to come out. That's where your voice gets forged. It's kind of like a little crucible. That's where you get better. That's where you do your best struggles, is when you're alone, with no one giving you any expectations. All you have is you, your sketchbook, your tablet, whatever. That's it. That's where your voice comes out. And it's kind of cool. And also, when you connect with other artists, they know your struggle, and you can forge some really deep bonds with those people, between swapping stories, swapping tips, tricks, learning from each other. When you build that community, you're building a community of people who are aware of the life that you're living, because they're living the same life. And yeah, it can be lonely, but if you learn to kind of sit with it, that's where the real growth starts to happen. And then also, we're going to go into point 2, and that's money. If you're a professional artist and you're making your living solely through art, I'm right there with you. Tattooing and professional illustration, we kind of sit on that same path. And if you're a professional illustrator of any sort, especially if you're freelance, you understand feast and famine. Feast and famine is such a roller coaster. It really is. There are going to be months when you are jammed up. You're so busy, you're turning work away. And then when that slow period comes through, you're wishing that work that you turned away would come back and talk to you. I've been doing this 25 years as a tattooer, and it happens to me still. There will be months when I'm telling people to find other artists. And then on those slow months, I'm looking at those people with those new tattoos going, man, I wish I would have done that. But anyways, what's cool about that, what you can do with that, is if you learn how to ride through it, if you're smart about things, you squirrel away money. You learn to keep a balance financially by living lean through the fat times and still living lean through those lean times. Basically, try not to go beyond your means. Save up money where you can. And believe me, it helps. Also, learn how to diversify. Find those websites, TeePublic, and, some of those, those merch sites where you can just crank out designs. Or if you're just drawing, throw it on a t-shirt. Why not? Somebody might really dig it. Advertise that stuff on your social medias. If you aren't camera shy, step in front of the camera and do a YouTube. Do TikTok. Try to find ways to get your work out there so you can keep that income stream in, and also potentially diversify that income stream. It helps. It really does. And if you can do that, it will be really beneficial to you as an artist, especially as a professional artist. Because, to be honest, nobody really talks about that kind of stuff in education. They don't talk about, squirreling away money or how to pay rent in January when nothing's coming through. You have to learn how to handle that feast and famine kind of cycle. Otherwise, you're going to burn out and go away. I'd like to see you stay around long enough for that to pay off for you. But also, I've been doing this, like I said, for 25 years. And that links into my third point. And that third point is it's a physical job. You know, I've said it before, art is manual labor. You are working with your hands, but you're also, let's be honest, all of us kind of shrimp up when we do art. You can't tell me otherwise. I don't see very many good posture artists. Now, if you do, great. By all means, please stay that way. But if you're like me and you're in the shrimp club, you need to learn how to get up and stretch. You need to learn how to get up and be active. You don't want to be pushing 50 and every time you stand up, it sounds like Rice Krispies. And yeah, trust me, that happens. You should hear me when I wake up in the morning. But yeah, like I said, get up, stretch, move around. Give yourself about a 15-minute break every hour or so. Pay attention to your posture. Treat yourself like you're an athlete. Because you kind of are. You are using your body to work. Art is manual labor. And yeah, if you can kind of keep on to that, you know, you can make it through your first, you know, you can make it to my age and still not hurt when you're making art. Otherwise, you're going to last about 10, 15 years and you're going to just start feeling it. It'll beat the crap out of you. And that comes into point 4. Oh yeah, that's 4. Not 3, 4. And that fourth point is, and this one, ooh, it really chaps my ass. They think we're lazy. They think they don't value the work you do. And ooh, this one hits me hard. They don't think we do real work as artists, as working artists. I know you've probably heard it. I know I hear it a lot. And it's that, oh, you just draw pictures, or for me, oh, you just tattoo, you know. It must be nice to not have a real job. And let's be honest, our job is a hobby. We do enjoy what we do, but it's still work. It's still manual labor. I'm still putting in time. In fact, I put in more time as an artist making art than a guy doing construction. Yeah, we put in more work than construction workers. We put in more work than most manual laborers. I put in more work than a factory worker. Do you think 40 hours is a lot? I work 40 hours a week tattooing, yes, but I also work another 20 or 30 just making art. I work on my days off. I work on holidays. I go to a vacation and I still bring a sketchbook. I still bring my tablet. I still make art. My wife kicks my ass sometimes because I'm sitting around making art when we should be going out and enjoying things. So, you know, we're not wearing a hard hat. We're not sitting in a cubicle, but our work is real. What's kind of cool about it, though, and what's really neat is, and something you need to get into your head is, you don't need everyone to respect what you do. No one has to respect what you do. The people who matter to you, the people who come and spend money with you, the people who spend time with you, the people who are in your orbit, those voices are going to be the ones that you have to take as gold. Those are your core. Those are your people. Those are the people who matter. Not some dude on the street, not some dude on the internet telling you bullshit. Those guys don't matter. And also, I kind of want to throw this out. If they don't get any of that, go to the movies. Go to a show. Read a book. read a comic book, watch TV. All of that stuff is art. They can't enjoy their life without us. Even if they watch sports, the logos, all that shit, that was made by an artist, not by some, dude playing football. So all of that stuff comes from artists. The world runs kind of on what we do. We make life more enjoyable, whether they like it or not. And, if somebody starts saying something like that, throw that back in their face. And let's come down to the fifth point here. And that fifth point, and this is the best piece of advice I can give anybody. Don't get too emotionally attached to your stuff. Seriously. I know you're going to pour every ounce of your being into your art. We all do. We pour our hearts into what we do. Artwork is heart work. But if you hold on too tight with it, you're going to break your heart. Clients ghost sometimes. Sometimes things don't sell. Sometimes you post it online and, you get crickets, you get tumbleweeds. And that hurts a lot, especially when you're proud of what you've done. And again, that happens to me too. When I first started tattooing, man, I would get wrecked every time somebody would want to change something because people didn't understand my vision or whatever kind of ego-driven crap was in the back of my head. I'd spend hours drawing on stuff for people and they'd cancel on me or they'd revise this all the way to the point where my voice was completely lost. Excuse me, that was a burp. And that crushed me. But you learn to let it go. And what's cool about it is if you stop clinging to it, it sets you a little bit free and it allows you to move quicker to the next pieces. You can create more. You start really getting into the process and obsessing over the process rather than the product. And that's where you really start to grow because your process is your process. Nobody can take that away from you. Focus on that, not the end result. And I think that's kind of the end of it on that. But art's, it's hard. It's tough. It's lonely. Money's unstable. You're going to end up crushing yourself physically if you don't take care of yourself. You're not always going to be valued, and you're always going to try to cling on to your work sometimes. And I know that sounds super heavy, but I'm not saying don't do it. None of that means don't do it. It just means when those moments hit, you're going to recognize it. And you're not going to be flawed because you're doing the same shit other people have been doing for years. And what's cool about that is if you stick that out, you get a lot of payoff. That light bulb moment I talked about in prior videos, that client who approaches you and, your work means everything to them. That stuff is everything. There's going to be a day when you look back, when you check out your old sketchbooks and you can see how far you've come along. All that time spent alone matters. And you're going to you're going to see that. And that's where those moments, man, that's your golden moments. It makes all of this worth it. And that's why we got to keep going. So, yeah, I'm not here to talk you out of being an artist. I'm here to say it's hard. It really is. But if you can find the wherewithal to push through all of that, man, the rewards are endless. They really are. And I'm not talking physical or monetary. Art is heart work. It's soul work. And that's the ultimate reward. Anyways, I'm going to break it off there. I'm about to get a little emotional here. go ahead and drop your nobody told me kind of stuff in the comments. Tell me that stuff you weren't warned about. And who knows, we might get a part 3 out of this. Until then, keep going. Make that bad art. Embrace that suck. And I'll see y'all next week.